everything just shifted so drastically all of a sudden. Just a second ago it was wide open pines, not a lot of ground shrubbery, and it was only sand pines, which is what these look like as well. But pretty interesting how quickly, I mean, it was like snap of a finger. Gone through a couple different areas already. I kind of wish I'd got some of the first places I went, but I just wanted to show you this. This is pretty intense. It's a pretty clean little game trail here though that is heading south. So I'm going to stay on this for a while, see where it takes me. Alright, now this is cool. This is actually all over the place here, but here's a nice healthy patch of it. This is called deer moss or reindeer moss, I guess, depending on where you live and who you ask. It's very interesting moss. It's very brittle, kind of crispy almost, not as spongy as your typical mosses. But this right here is edible. It's full of lots of nutrients. There's protein, a lot of carbohydrates, vitamin A, I think folic acid, maybe a few other things. But the problem with this is it's full of an acid that will make your stomach extremely sore. You'll end up with an upset stomach, so you have to leach it several times. Boiling it with baking soda actually does it the fastest, but when it's fully done, it's more like a gel. You could use it as a substitute for gelatin to kind of thicken things and harden them. But really interesting moss here. Good emergency in the event that I need it. Alright. Now I'm going to keep looking for my sleeping platform materials. Alright. Alright, so what we're going to do now, go through the pack, show you everything I'm bringing, explain the what and the why, and what I actually plan on using and what's just emergency supply. Alright, here we go. So first of all, this is my oilskin with cinch sack top. Now I do have the top currently strapped on, which prevents it from sliding off when I put this on, but that doesn't change it from being a usable cinch sack. Simply by tightening this up, and can you see how there's a sack there? Turn it inside out, I get the oil skin. I can collect water and boil it in here. This is more of a multi-purpose emergency measure in the event that I lose or don't have anything else, but it's nice to have. To get it added, all I have to do is untie these in the bottom, call it good. Alright. Shoes feel great, feel amazing, like them. I'm currently wearing thin wool socks for the day. I have thicker wool socks for in the event that it gets really cold at night. It has been getting down into 30s at night on several occasions. Okay, now that I mentioned those socks, these are a hat, Under Armour hat, just in case, I guess, and then a random extra shirt. Probably won't need. And then my thermals, because like I said, it does get pretty cold at night. Now I have an Under Armour top, and then Capilene top and bottom. All synthetic materials, but very warm, will keep you alive, also very breathable, and won't freeze you out if wet. And then I have my Pendleton wool button-up shirt and a merino wool sweater. So I have plenty for warmth. I do realize that I'm in Florida. It's currently probably about 70, 72 degrees out here right now, which is fairly warm. But it will get much colder, and it'll start dropping fairly fast. Now, my electronics bags has the waterproof cover for my camera, another clip, and some spare batteries. Because a week out here, each of these batteries are only supposed to last maybe an hour and a half. I also have a spare SD card. Other charging equipment, just in case I somehow come across something to charge or somewhere, or, you know, I get out and I want to charge and don't want to wait until I get home to see anything. So I've already gone over that. Now here, this right here is emergency supplies. Actually, the top one is more of a celebratory. This is some dark chocolate covered almonds. Dark chocolate's great to bring in the woods with you if you want the energy of sweets and sugar and all of that, plus almonds are good. But dark chocolate's good because it doesn't melt like milk chocolate. It will melt, but it requires a much, much, much higher temperature. And then in here, this is just a whole bunch of a variety of trail mix. This breaks down to about 3,600 calories between these two containers, which isn't much, I realize, but it is enough that if for some reason I'm not able to find anything else to eat and I'm absolutely starving, I don't have the energy to go on, I can. That's the only reason I have these. I really didn't plan on bringing these, but I did plan on bringing a few other things. I did want to bring my bow, but after talking to the ranger station and the people there and the oddities of it not being hunt season and walking through the woods with a weapon, it just didn't seem right. I do regret it at this moment and probably will several times throughout this adventure. And then I have my wool mitts, which are also super warm and well used, well loved. Wool is just an amazing resource of material. These gloves I do use. They keep me warm and allow me to keep working. Not going to bother opening the first aid kit, but just know, or I'll just give you a quick little glance. It is extremely well stocked. Flashlight, scissors, wraps. I have multiple types of bandages, a second whistle in here, more matches, Leatherman. I have these gloves, which have this grip on it, because I don't know if you've ever had to deal with anything that was really, really, really bloody, but it also gets really, really, really slippery, so sometimes you might need these. More dressings, a whole variety of things here. Very well stocked. This is not stocked with what it came with. I've just had this case forever, and it's been getting added to over the years and taken from. So, hoping for the best. And that looks like some doable water. Let's go ahead and go back and grab my water container to fill. Alright, we'll get back to you. I would like to get as little sediment as possible. Digging out an Egyptian well would not be easy here. Maybe farther back, but I'd have to get a whole bunch of grass. Let's just see what this water looks like here. That doesn't look too bad. Now if I can just get less sediment, maybe I can filter it back over there. See what I have to work with. I don't know if I'm going to make it all the way to the pond. Based on how thick this water is, I'd rather not soak my feet at this point. Kind of just got here. So I'm going to stick with this area here and then try and filter out some of this sediment. Alright, you see, it's a little ugly looking. Even if the sediment's in there purified, it'll be fine. I will still drink it, but I can guarantee it'll taste a whole lot better if I filter it as well. Alright, let's go on back and get there. I found this small clearing, still kind of in the woods. Not too much grass on the ground, but still close to the water. Plenty of dry firewood. I brought these two over. They're going to be a part of my frame, but they're also, in the meantime, going to supply a lot of good kindling and firewood. So when starting a fire, one of the most important things is get everything you need first. I have my starting tinder. Now, in some places, moss is a horrible choice. Here, this stuff is so dry, so brittle, there's no moisture in there at all. So you kind of break it up to allow, airflow and surface area, make it a little bit smaller. I mean, it already has a lot of tiny, really amazing fibers. So we're going to try and spark that. And after that, once we get it lit, I have this nice grass bundle here that should light, and then I can build up and then go to my wood and continue. So let's give this a shot. Am I recording? Yes. So, Bear Grylls fire starter first attempt. What am I doing? These strikers, though, that come with these things sometimes are horrible. So, there we go. Got the moss lit. Got the grass lit, which is nice. That makes it good and easy to care for. Go ahead and put these on here now. That's it, nice coal bed. You might notice that there's very little smoke. This is extremely dry. I think the smoke that is coming from the lack of airflow in the grass bundle. Yeah, so first thing I'm gonna do, could make a way to hang it, but it's not really that big of a concern right now. Mostly I just want something to drink. So I'm just gonna make a little area to put it in there so we can start to heat up from one side. Alright, and that ought to do it. Alright, I'll come back when that's boiled. So what this is doing is it's essentially making an X across the front. Probably not a perfect one. It rarely does when I'm not looking at it. You can make it pretty if that's what you care about and what you're going for. I care more about functional than pretty. You can see the other side there isn't a perfect X. This one probably won't be either. So once you have it to where you feel like that's on there pretty good, and it's tight, but it's not that tight, you can tighten it up. Coming down and around, and I go around the bottom of the pole, and then I cinch it around and tighten it. See how that's tightening right there in the middle? So I do 2 wraps around, and then I go 1 around the pole, and then go back around a couple more times, and you just kind of do this till you feel like it's good. You can do more. I wouldn't really recommend. And here we are, one incredibly ugly A-frame bed. Now across the top, if you're expecting rain, you can lay a ridgepole on here and then bring a cover down. Either build one out of palm fronds or whatever you want, or string your tarp across it if you want. It is really ugly. It looks really uncomfortable right now. This branch here was pretty flexible, so I had to put a Y stick under it because it was sagging too much, causing everything to lean. But it does hold my weight. Now I'm going to make all this a whole lot more comfortable. I'm going to put some palmetto on it, and then to more or less stop airflow. And then after the palmetto, I'm going to make a nice bed of the Spanish moss. And I'll have an image of that very soon for you. Alright. Hey there, hot and humid, still drinking this lovely water here. Finally got my bed done. Let's take a look at it. So you got your A-frame holding up the sides. And as you go down, see I got a nice thick layer of the Spanish moss. It's a quality insulating material. I figure between that and my wool blanket, I should be fine, as low as it definitely shouldn't get below 36. Should be fine between that, my layers, and worst case scenario, I can always go collect more of that and stuff it between the layers of my clothes and make it into a human sleeping bag. Alrighty, thanks for watching. Good morning. I don't want to be too loud. There's a lot of really awesome sounds going on. Hopefully you'll hear one of them again soon. Amazing alarms. It's probably about 6:30, I say. Let me see, I've probably been up for a little while. I got my hot water going. I may or may not have tea. I may just have water. uncertain at this point. Bed was great, cozy and comfortable. Go ahead and get up here. Show you here. So this right here is actually pretty sweet because it did kind of mat itself down right into a blanket. It just kind of rolls up. Very nice. And just because it looks so awesome, I'm going to bring you down and show you the grassy pond in the morning in the fog. Alright, let me turn you around. Alright, now this is probably everywhere in these woods. You can see there's quite a bit of it here and over here. This right here is Florida rosemary. Used for tea, seasoning things. I'm going to go ahead and harvest a little bit of it so that, you know, when I get some meat or something to cook, I just want some tea, and throw that in. Now in this maple longleaf pine area, which is really interesting. It's not your typical Florida. I mean, it's all like rolling hills and stuff. This is really intense, really cool. Alright, now there we go. That looks pretty good. Got here some prickly pear cactus. Completely edible. I actually have a friend whose mom specializes in making a pork and cactus meal. It's his favorite meal, probably because she's the only person I know that makes it. But it is pretty good. Let's go down here, and I won't take too much of it, but I'm quite hungry, I must say. I haven't come across much, and if you look around, you can see there's not much out in this area. So let's go ahead and get this, and believe you can eat it raw, but I know you can eat it cooked. So I'm just gonna go ahead and grab it now, and then I'm gonna cook it and eat it later. All right. Protein. Doesn't look like much, but it is some. I'm gonna have to get that. You are gonna be my dinner. What are you, a black racer? Where did you go? So this black snake, small, could be a king snake, could be a black racer, could also be a cottonmouth or a water snake. Now, being that I'm not near water, I don't think it's cottonmouth, but doesn't mean that it's not. Oh, man, I really wish. I mean, it's only been about a day and a half since I've had any real food. But that is plenty of time to be hungry. And made that little bit that I saw pretty appealing. At the same time, it's kind of promising. There are tons and tons of snakes in these woods. And if there's one out, there's probably more. So keep hoping. It probably had a little hole or a burrow or something that it went in. I'm really confused. I mean, it just straight disappeared on me. It's right there, and I saw the tail, and then it wasn't there, and it stopped moving. Zero movement. There, no noise, heard nothing. Sneaky little things, snakes in the grass. Alright, back to yucca harvesting. So as you can see, there's a fair amount of it here. So I'm going to keep walking through. That in front of me is yucca, while this up here is actually a palmetto. So knowing the difference, there's actually two right next to each other. Palmetto is actually quite easy to spot. I mean, it's a big fan leaf. There's no like saw blades to it, so it's just a basic palmetto, as opposed to the saw palmetto. And then right here you have the yucca. This one actually still has the stalk, which is really cool. I'm about to take this because this can make an excellent hand drill. It's nice and dried in place. If there was more to the stalk, such as the tip, there are parts of it that are edible. But a really nice hand drill. Can't complain about that. I mean, this thing is incredibly straight. Extremely. Well, it's a little bent, but this way I bet it's pretty straight. There's some straight in there. Super dry, all of that. I'm taking like 3 to 4 leaves from each yucca plant. Obviously don't want to kill or over harvest. I could just take one whole plant. Hey there. So, I saw this nifty little burrow here. I find these fairly often. More often than not, they're gopher tortoise holes. Although lots of things tend to live in them. But I want to take a look in here and see these little tracks here. I don't know gopher tortoise all that well, but this has really reminded me of one. I have some images that I was told that's exactly what it is. So let's take a look in this hole here and see what we got. What I need now is a flashlight of sorts. They could be several feet in, but they're an excellent source of protein. Fair amount of meat. Get me through quite a while. Wow, that's a deep hole, huh? Can you see in there? I wonder if you can. I hope so. Well, if it is in there, it's too deep for me to get, unless I wanted to dig it up, but I'm not quite that desperate. As you can see, everything shifted again. It's a bad time of day to be out here. I might try and head for that tree line, but it looks like it ends up there a little ways, a little farther up. It is hottest time of the day, and I have no cover. Still incredibly hot. I did stop and rest for a minute. I can feel my body cooling a lot in the sweat, sitting in the shade. I'm gonna sit down again in a minute. I just kind of wanted to give you a view of this. I'm heading for this tree line over here. I'm kind of going southeast today. Alright, I know this is kind of a tender subject, not too many people like to talk about. There's an excellent book wrote called How to Poop in the Woods. Except it doesn't use the word poop, and I don't want to use profanity because I don't know who's watching, and I choose not to offend anyone. So one of the first things you want to do, find yourself a good digging stick and dig yourself a nice hole. You want a good 6 to 8 inches deep. Here's a little different though, because it's all sand down here, and really you want it to mix in with this topsoil. That's where it'll biodegrade the best. If you just lay it right on top, it can take up to a year to decompose. Even in the ground it can. And then when you're done, after you go in there, take this same stick and stir it all up. Break it up so that it has as much contact with the ground around it as possible, so it can decompose faster and get into the soil and start providing some nutrients to everything. Out here, there isn't that many soft things in Florida, but I did find that Spanish moss makes a wonderful toilet paper. Alright, hope you enjoyed this short little clip. Hey there. Yep, so it's been just 2 days since I've had anything like substantial to eat. Getting pretty exhausted. I was hoping to make it like 17 or 18 miles today, but that's not never gonna happen now. And it's been kind of rainy off and on. It's been getting really cloudy. You can see dark and overcast. So I'm a little worried about rain happening. I really don't have the energy at this moment. I planned a little too much. But what I did was I just took my tarp and my poncho. A couple steps to it. First one, you want to tie up your hood here. Cinch it closed, wrap it around, tie it up. Just using the camera to show you. Using my camera hand to tie it up probably isn't the best idea. And then, it doesn't have to actually be tied, just cinched. Done. This could be done tighter. This is a really cheap poncho. Trying to show that you can do things with cheap stuff too. It's got a nice angle. I'm gonna lay a nice bed, huge bed of moss down here. Maybe though, if I get the energy, I'm gonna lay down for a little bit and let my body rest. Maybe an hour or so. It's not that late. I still have maybe 5 hours until actual dark. So I still have plenty of time. But I'm just gonna lay down and rest for a little while. Right down here. If I do stay, I'll just start a fire pit right about here. Maybe a little bit further. Let's see where that puts me. Nope, it's a body length away. That should be good. This could melt, so I have to be careful. Keep it small. Between the fire being there and me being right here, should be good. I dug around. I don't see any major issues. It's going to be cold from the time that I'm asleep till I wake up. So snakes really aren't too much of an issue, although they will be seeking warmth, so I might wake up with one on top of me. Hope not, but won't be the first time I've slept on the ground in a place such as this. Alright, here I go. So, here's my camp. Wood pile here, extra wood drying around it, extra kindling top for when it goes out and I gotta get it back up in the morning, and then just my little camp. Super simple. And lay down and looked at my emergency foods. You can see that's still full. And you can see that's still full. Haven't ate them yet. I feel so much better. I think the exhaustion had to do with sleep. Just pushing myself a little too much before my body's ready for it. But here I am in my little cubby hole. Alright, leaving my camp. Now, other than the dry spot, can't really tell anyone was here, or that I had a much larger fire than I really needed. Not even close though to your typical like camper's fire. Alright, so when I sleep I always put myself kind of facing the way. Last night I put my feet in the direction I needed to go. Today it was, my camp was facing this way. And there's no sun, but I do have a compass and have a pretty good idea where I'm going. Over. That doesn't make sense now, does it? Under, over. Now. Over, under. You can do this with just one, starting with the double up. It also makes a much stronger mat. Be thicker, stronger. Just all around a little bit better. Keep locking it in. When you're done with the weave, you can lock it in. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep weaving here, and then slide cut it in. And now look how long my mat can get. And same thing the other way, it just keeps going. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to turn you off and come back and show you how to lock it up when I'm done. Had it all cleaned up and pretty. And as per usual, cut away from yourself. Always, never cut towards yourself. There are advanced carving techniques that appear like you're carving towards yourself, but you're not. Don't do those until you're very comfortable with the knife and have a fair amount of experience and comfort with your knife. Can't be afraid of it. But you do have to respect that it could be exactly what kills you out here. Your own knife. How sad would that be? Okay, like I said, ugly but functional. Yeah, let's see. 2, 3, 4, 5. So going that way. So now the question is, do I want the smaller one or a slightly fatter one like this one over here? I am only going to take one. And it's more just to show you. Although I am hungry. Quite hungry, in fact. Get all this out of the way so I can access it and chop it down easier. I don't have to worry about all the pokies that these things have. Yeah. Look at that there. Now this right here is a fair amount of food. Oh yeah, that's good. I'm gonna snack on this one. Oh yeah, that is a meal right there. Look at that. Heart of palm. Now I understand it's best in little slices. It can be cooked. If there were people who would slice it real thin like this, put it in a salad, that's supposed to be really good. I'll be honest, this is my first time eating heart of palm, other than that little bite I took a while ago just to see how it tasted. But go ahead and keep. So that balances right here somewhere. Not bad. Not great. Not bad. Food though. Kind of reminds me of watercress. Alright. I'm gonna enjoy my dinner.